Hi everyone. Uh, in this today's video, I'm going to explore a tool called Kiro, which is basically an IDE with an AI assistant built inside it. Okay, this is a product which behind the scene uses Amazon AI. Okay, and the look and feel looks very similar to VS Code. Probably it's based on the same open source project on which VS Code itself is based on. Okay, so let's get into the details. As you can see here, uh, I have a very small project, a Java project open here. Let's just close this chat window and instead let's have a quick walkthrough inside this existing application. So as you can see here, my application structure is even ready. Okay, I manually created few components like some packages like controllers, model, repository, and service. And here I have the Spring Boot application entry point class, library, API, application. Okay, and we have this option here, application properties file, which will be used by Spring Data JPA or JDBC modules which are built into Spring Framework to connect with my database. And you will notice I have a pom.xml file, which is a project configuration file for Maven projects. Java developers know this already. And all the basic configuration is already in here. Okay, I have also included dependencies like MySQL connector for Java, Hibernate Core for JPA, and Spring Boot Starter Web for web components. So let's see how fast and how efficient AI would be. So first of all, let's open this chat panel. You have two options to choose. One is the one which we use vibe coding, and the other one is spec. And what I'm going to show you now, I'll show you both the approaches on the same exact project. So let's get started. But before we proceed, let's do one thing here. What I'll do is I'll create a copy of this project. Okay, the entire folder, I'll copy it because this library API project, once I start using I would be making a lot of changes to this project folder. So let's take a backup. I'll just go back to the parent directory, and here let's create a copy of entire project. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just create a copy of this project. Okay, so let's just say library API 2. Library API is the project folder name, and I just want to copy and create a directory. Okay, yeah, so done. Okay, so if I just do dir here, you can see there are now two different folders, library API and library API 2. So what if I go to library API 2 and oh wait, I guess I named it wrong. It's library API 2 without hyphen. Let's try what our folders are there. Looks like I did not actually copy it correctly. There is nothing inside this other than pom.xml file, I believe. Okay, and that's because it's not actually copying all the other contents. I'll just let's just do one thing. Much easier option is to copy paste using Windows File Explorer. That way you'll just make sure it copies everything. So let's copy everything from this folder to this folder here. So we will have a kind of a backup in case if we want to revert back to our original project. Okay, it's done now. So there is another folder where I have taken a backup of this. So let's start using the AI tool. Okay, so there are two options. As you can see, there is a vibe coding and there is a spec based development, and both have their advantages and disadvantages. Like based model will actually go through a proper planning based model. It will first prepare a plan and then build, right? And you have vibe is for rapid development. Let's try the vibe. And what I'm going to do now here, I'm just going to use this prompt here. So look at the prompt now. It's add few models, JPA entities, DAO, JPA repository, services. Spring component, Spring service component. And finally, REST resources for, now what all things we have here? We have book, member, and book issue. So these are the entities, and I want my AI assistant here to develop all that. Ideally speaking, instead of including too much stuff in one single prompt, you should actually use multiple prompts. Like maybe use one prompt for JP entities, then next prompt create DAO, then next prompt for services, and then finally fourth prompt for REST resources. You can use that approach, or you can use this approach. Anyways, let's see what happens now. So when I press enter, Kiro by default behind the scene uses Amazon's AI tools. So Kiro is now working on this project. It's going to read certain files. You can see it has automatically picked up two files here: pom.xml file, which is Maven project configuration file, and application properties, which is used by Spring Boot, right? And it has also analyzed only other file available here in this project, which is the application entry point. After that, you'll notice I'm using Copilot enabled. That means I have just asked Copilot, sorry, it's not Copilot, it's Autopilot. Autopilot is enabled. That means it's like auto accept everything, right? This is not actually the best practice, but anyways. So you can see my AI assistant has generated entities like book.java, member.java, bookissue.java. You can see it was auto accepted. Then it has created JPA repositories. Then it has created services. Then it has created REST controllers for it. And there is some explanation also created here. And in case if you want, you can also ask your AI assistant to create a README file. So let's say generate a README file to describe this project, describe or document this project. Also include steps to run this project and test endpoints using CURL or curl. So let's see if my AI tool can generate a documentation file. And when I say documentation or README file, the default option here is to create a markdown file. So my AI assistant has assumed that when I say I want a description of this project in README file, it means I'm trying to use a readme.md file. That is an assumption they have done, and this is all details has been added to it. So as you can see here, there is a readme.md file, and this readme file will explain you about this particular project, what framework I'm using, which language I'm using, which database I'm using, which ORM object relational mapping framework I'm using, what build tool I'm using. And not just that, even the project structure is displayed here in a kind of a tree diagram. In order to execute this project, this is all we need. Okay, so it's given here. You can see all the details here, and it's even asking me to use these commands, few commands, to just initialize the database as well, right? Okay, and here it is. You can see there are even some instructions to test the application. Once I execute it, test this application using CURL, because that's why I explicitly mentioned I want this particular uh, project to be able to test. You should be able to test it using CURL. So those instructions has also been provided to me. Please remember, this is a vibe coding approach. In vibe coding approach, we just give you some instructions, ask AI assistant to generate a code, and by default assume that everything is right. Okay, that's vibe coding. It's fast option, but remember, you might actually make a mistake, right? Or there is a possibility that your AI assistant might skip few things, like for example, right? For example, I did not mention and my AI assistant didn't implement that. But don't you think this project also need to have some kind of user defined exceptions, right? So inside my service, you should be throwing some exceptions here. There is an exception handling missing in here. So let's do one thing. Let's ask my AI assistant, add few user defined exceptions for all JPA entities. Also, update service components, okay, to throw those exceptions as and when needed. Exceptions should be handled in handled using dedicated resource provider, or maybe exception handler, which is basically a JPA component. Sorry, not JPA component. This is basically a REST component. We call it a REST provider component. There is also a REST provider component available from Spring REST framework. We are actually using Spring REST. So I gave these instructions here and I expect it to properly handle my exceptions. Okay. So let's see what happens if I use this prompt right now. So let's see what's happening right now. So because I'm using autopilot mode, all the changes are auto accepted here right now. Okay, in vibe coding, please remember auto accepting all the changes from AI could actually introduce quite few bugs in your code. Ideal approach is to not use autopilot mode and review every change your AI tool is making. Okay, but this code is too small and I have done it earlier, by the way. So I know that generated code is actually good enough to auto accept. So as you can see now, you will notice the book issue service is now updated here and it will now throw exceptions. So you can see if it is not able to find a book, it's throwing book not found exception. If it's not able to find member, it will throw member not found exception, right? If the book status is not A means not available, throw an exception, book not available exception. So that change has been made. If I go to the book service class here, looks like for book service class also it's throwing an exception, user defined exception. Not just that, it has also created a global exception handler, and global exception handler is assuming these HTTP status code for the exceptions. It's 404 for not found, 409 for duplicate, 400 for invalid status, unavailable book, and 500 for unexpected error. If you want, you can change these. Okay, maybe write a prompt to change them. Let me see. There is actually a dedicated package it has created called exception. And you can see this is book issue not found, book not available, book not found, duplicate member exception, error response. Now, error response is the error provider, basically. So you can see this is all defined here. It will have status, error, the message, and the path. All is included here. Okay, this is actually a utility class, you can see. Then global exception handler, and you will notice the global exception handler is using this custom class error response class, where we will be having all this data. Sorry. Okay. So status code, message, error message, and the path. Which path has actually generated that error? That path also we will display, like API/book has generated this path. So my AI assistant is able to generate all that for me. I'm using a vibe code where there are less verification or check. Anyways, let's see what else we can do now. If I right click anywhere here, I can refactor this code, but I don't think there is anything to refactor. Anyways, so let's do one thing, one last activity. And what I'm planning to do now is, you can see there is no test cases created, right? So let's ask my AI assistant to add support for unit testing. Okay, use latest version of, and you can use any particular tool. Okay, like for example JUnit, which should be compatible with Java 11. Okay, because There is a possibility that the JUnit 5, I'm not sure whether it is compatible with Java 11. Oh, looks like it is compatible. Fine. So a JUnit 5, Jupyter. JUnit 5 has a release name Jupyter. So this is getting added here, and let me check that. So here they are, and you will notice one thing, my AI assistant is so smart that it already knew that just adding JUnit is not enough. And this type of project, we also need a mocking framework. So by default, it has assumed that I want to use Mockito. This is just an assumption. And this is where vibe coding actually can go wrong. Your AI assistant, now, if you have not provided a certain piece of information, like I did not specify which mock framework to use, and it has made a decision or it has selected a framework on behalf of me. Okay, so that's fine. Mockito is actually the one that I used in most of the projects, so I have no issues with that, and I'll just, kind of accept all those changes. Also, one more thing, okay, about the Kiro subscription. Right now, I'm using a free version or free subscription of Kiro, and you will notice on the status bar here on the right bottom corner, I'm using or I have consumed already free bonus 8.16 out of 500 uh, credits which are available to me. And uh, I actually signed up for Kiro 4 days back. So I have 26 days left to explore it further. Fine. Getting back to this project now, you can see my AI tool is working on it, and you will notice one thing, it is so smart that it's saying I have updated your README file as well. This is interesting because now the project structure is updated, and a very common mistake we do, humans do, we update the project but we do not update our documentation, right? Here, it's making sure that your documentation is updated as well, right? Okay, so you can see here all the status codes, date format. Now unit testing section has been updated here. Okay, maybe you can move it to the top, and maybe steps to execute and manually test it, you can move them down if you want. But I believe this is all fine with me. And this is now time to test this. Okay, so let's manually test this anyways. So I will go to the terminal and let me try mvn clean and package. This command will actually, try to clean the previous build and then build the project, and after that it will also run the unit test cases. This is a very good example of vibe coding. I did not even check what kind of test cases my AI assistant has generated, and I'm just trying to run them directly. So maybe I could do all this thing manually without using AI, but it will definitely take much longer time. Okay, and we got our first failure, right? This is what disadvantage of, you know this thing. Okay, so here I'm getting this cannot find a symbol. Okay, so where it is member service dot java line number 42 and character number 36. Okay, there is no save method. Member repository. So basically it's saying member repository do not have member save method. So let's try to find it out. This is the disadvantage of vibe coding, but I guess we can still make amends to it. So this is member service and this is member repository. Okay, so as I can see here, uh, okay, we are using JPA repository, and JPA repository, the method name may or may not be save. It could be something else, right? The JPA repository by default has several methods. Okay, so let's go and check the, not controller, I guess this exception, this error was with service class. So service, member service, and inside member service line number 42, And here it is. It's saying member repository dot save. So let me check if the method actually exists. Okay, I got it. Right now, it's not able to actually use that built-in Java debugging or Java code editing is not enabled here in this IDE. So let me do one thing. Let's go for the extensions and install Java language pack. Okay, so there is a Java language pack available from multiple different vendors. The one I recommend is Java support from Red Hat. The reason is this is actually a group of several extensions bundled together. Okay, so let's install this. Trust the publisher and install it. And after you install this extension, you will notice that this will actually provide you several features. Okay, after you install it properly, you will get all the Java language related features available, right? And you can see the list of features also available here. You should be able to build Java Maven projects or Java Gradle projects directly from your IDE. Okay, it's getting installed. Another framework that you can install here is for the Spring Boot project. So let me search for an extension for Spring Boot. Okay. And all these extensions are actually VS Code extensions. And because this tool is also based on VS Code, the extensions can be, you can say, the extensions are portable across IDEs now. But whenever you install an extension, make sure you install an official extension. There is a possibility that there might be same extension available from multiple vendors. In that case, make sure your vendor name is accurate. Like this is VMware extension. Okay, Spring Boot tools. And once the extensions are installed, my IDE should be able to, you know, help me with this code. Okay. So here I got this message. Okay, you just want to improve it, accept it or deny it. I used to deny, but accept will also work fine. No worries. Accept means, do you want to share your usage data with Red Hat when you are using the extension? And that's totally fine. Anyway, these are small demos. Okay, I'm not working on any real project here. So immediately it will now start loading my Java project, and it will be able to detect all the compilation errors. Live compilation error capturing it will enable now. Wait for it. Okay, I guess I should have done this before I start, before I created this project. Okay, I should have installed all the required extension. So if you want to try using a different, okay, null annotation type has been detected in the project, do you want to enable null analysis? Okay, so now you can see it has started to compile my project, and my project actually has quite few compilation errors, right? Okay, so let's see this now. For example, there is no save method, right? So what is a method? What is another method then? Okay, so you can see there is no save method. There is find by email. Wait, okay, no, all those methods are not actually available. Maybe, and maybe, I guess there is an issue with my repository classes themselves. Yeah, I got it. It's saying this framework, this import is not working. What could be the reason for it? Let's go to pom.xml file, and I noticed one thing. Yes, I got it. In order to use this JPA repository annotation, I need a dependency called Spring Data JPA dependency, which, while using a white coding, my AI assistant did not add. And I have to add it manually. By the way, it is possible that I can use a quick chat and ask my AI assistant to add Spring Data JPA dependency. Or I can just manually type the dependency tags, whichever way it's easier for me. Okay. So I will add this Spring Data JPA Spring Boot Starter, and then just, kind of reload the project. This will actually fix all those compilation errors, I believe. Please remember one thing: vibe coding is not bad, but you don't use vibe coding if you are not already comfortable, confident with the programming language or framework you are using. Now, I have already years of experience with Spring framework, Spring Boot, and older Spring framework as well. So I can do this type of troubleshooting much easier and much faster. Do not use vibe coding for unknown framework, okay, or languages you are not master in. Okay, yeah. So let's reload it one more time. And what I will do now, let's close this. I believe this should now fix many of the compilation errors in my project. So let's wait for it. So looks like there are some issues now in service classes, and we will try to rectify them. So like for example, here it is: null type safety. Expression of type long needs unchecked conversion to confirm not null long. So this is null analysis, that box that popped up earlier for null pointer analysis. It's that issue, but as you can see, it's a yellow underline. That means it's a warning, not an error. Should be able to compile or rebuild my application now. Let's just repeat mvn clean package and see what happens now. So it's going to recompile everything, and this time I believe there should be no errors. Oh, wait, I was wrong. Let's see what is the error this time. And this time the error is in the test controllers. And what is it? Book controller test, line number 33 6, member controller test. So let's go for test classes. Okay, there is my extension has already detected those compilation errors. So let's see. It's saying mock bin cannot be resolved. Let's try to fix this. There is an option here, ask Kiro. So if you don't know how to fix it, you can simply ask your AI assistant, how do I fix this error? And your AI assistant can now help you. So like here, AI assistant is saying, you didn't include Spring Boot starter test dependency. Oh wait, it is included, but it's not recognized. Issue is likely that Maven hasn't downloaded dependencies yet. Okay, let's trust this command and let Kiro run Maven command on my behalf. Yes, this is called agentic AI. Okay, you allow AI tool to use some of the tools, some of your build tools directly on your behalf. So Kiro is now running this command on my behalf. mvn clean install skip test. Okay, skip test means it will not run any unit test, but it will just try to clean and install or download all the dependencies. Okay, so the command will run and it will, wait a second, it's just waiting for my input. So let's say yes, and now it will run it. Okay, so trusted, the full command, partial command. Okay, 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 right, fine. So it's asking me which one to use. So let's say I will use this one. Okay, so here is the Kiro's terminal, and you can see Kiro is now running this Maven command on my behalf. Wait for it. Now, while the command is running, Kiro is still evaluating it. So Kiro has captured the response from the command, and it's saying, okay, the version 2.5.4 doesn't include mockbin annotation by default. You need to add Spring Boot test explicitly. Fine. Here, let me just ignore this extension for a minute. Okay, so you can see Kiro is working on this issue on its own. It's running a command, got some response, work on that response. Okay, here this extension is asking me, do you want me to synchronize the project? Let's say yes. But anyways, that's not actually needed. We are anyway running this command via Kiro to rebuild the entire project. Okay, so Kiro is now running this. Issue is Spring Boot 2.5.4 has a different package structure.